Starting your day off with a take on Vegas you won't get anywhere else.
Hi, I'm Holly Madison, and I listen to Brian Shapiro.
Hi, this is William Shatner, and I listen to Brian Shapiro.
Hey, this is Larry the Cable Guy, and I listen to Brian Shapiro. Why? Because I'm a good American. So is he. And if you don't listen to him, you need to pack up and leave this country.
This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
Come on, guys!
What's up, everybody? It is Wednesday. Don't they call that hump day? Yeah, I think they do. It's the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. Glad you could join us. Fun, jam-packed show, as we always do. Every day on the show. We work hard for you. We work hard for you, people, alongside my co-host, Mr. J.D. Sharp, who has graced us with his presence today. J.D., I know the listeners missed you yesterday. Can you give them a reason why you weren't in studio yesterday?
I had to take care of a lot of business, both family-oriented and personally-oriented.
All right. It's a good excuse.
It kind of came up late, so I wanted to be here. I just could not be.
If this was high school, you would definitely have a suspension by now. There's no doubt about it. You've been tardy way too many times. But I'm going to sign off on that. It's a legitimate excuse. I believe you. And you're here today. So thank you for being here and gracing us with your presence. No, we have a lot to get to today, by the way. I had an interesting night last night, by the way. Did you ever see that movie, A Star is Born? Did you catch that flick?
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. So last night I'm hanging out with a lady friend. She comes over to my place, and I know, shocker, right? I have women that come over to my place. I know many of you are surprised by that, and that's fine. So, you know me, like I want to watch sports on TV. I want to watch Fox News, CNN. I want to watch the political stuff. I'm into, action movies and so on and so forth, right? So a friend of mine who's over, she says to me, hey, let's watch A Star is Born. And my first reaction is, well, isn't that still in the theaters? How can I rent that? Lo and behold, I go press my on-demand thing, $26, right? So already I'm in a bad mood. It's $26 to rent a movie.
You actually spent $26 to rent a movie that you don't own?
Well, I mean, there's reasons. It was an investment. That's the way I look at it. She wanted to see the movie. It was a good choice, but I'm not going to get into details there. But anyway, read between the lines. So I get the movie, okay? And I know it got really good reviews. And I by the way, I like Lady Gaga. I think she's extremely talented. And we're very lucky to have her here as a residency. And I thought, as an actress, her first movie, right? This was her first movie. I thought she did a really good job. For never acting before, fabulous job. And I like Bradley Cooper. I prefer him in Hangover, but I like Bradley Cooper. If you like theater and plays and that sort of thing, I guess this is your kind of movie. It was way too much crying, way too much singing, and I hated it. And I already have ADD. So I was so fidgety throughout the whole movie, I could not stand it. I'm not saying it was a horrible movie. I can understand why some people out there like this movie. I'm just telling you, JD, I'm telling you, you wouldn't like it. I didn't like it. It was like a Broadway play. It was singing, some good acting, but it just wasn't my thing, man. I did not enjoy it at all. It just wasn't my thing.
Well, about 95% of the country likes that movie. It is probably going to win several awards.
Hasn't it already won awards? Not yet. I don't know. I don't really follow.
No,
that
the
stuff.
Oscars are coming up.
Yeah. So you think it's going to win?
I think it'll win probably one or two awards.
For what?
I don't know. It's got a shot for Best Picture, obviously, Best Supporting Actress or Best Lead Actress.
Did you know
Best
Andrew Dice Clay plays her father? I didn't know that. And Dave Chappelle's in the movie too. Andrew Dice Clay playing a serious role as an actor, to me, makes me want to vomit. Okay, I'll start off and say that. Dice should never be playing a serious role. He was fine in Entourage. That was funny. He's a funny guy. How can anybody take Andrew Dice Clay seriously? I watched it. I'm like, are you kidding me? Dice is in this movie? I thought he did okay, but it was a little weird. Chappelle has a small little role in the movie, too. So there were some pretty cool cameos in there.
Chappelle, he plays what? Bradley Cooper's sponsor, more or less?
Yes, correct.
He's like an AA sponsor?
Yeah, Cooper plays a really bad drunk in the movie.
But does he play it well?
I thought he did a pretty good job.
Does he sing well?
Yes. I thought, but it's hard for me to answer that question because I don't know whether a lot of that stuff was actually live or
No, that was 100% live. That was all his voice.
Then he's look, I'm not saying that, look, Bradley Cooper's extremely talented. Lady Gaga's extremely talented. I just telling you I didn't like the movie.
Have you ever heard Bradley Cooper's impersonations?
No, I haven't. No.
He does some amazing impersonations.
Of who?
A lot of different people.
Yeah, well, I like Bradley Cooper. I'm just saying it was a chick flick, and I don't like chick flicks. Not that I'm not in touch with my feminine side. I'm just saying I didn't enjoy the movie. That's all. And it wasn't worth $26. I didn't know you could rent movies on your TV that are in the theaters for that. I never knew that.
I'm completely shocked that you even considered spending $26 and actually spent $26 on a movie.
Well, trust me.
I guess investment speaking.
Trust me, if you came over my house and you asked me and then you said, hey, Brian, let's watch A Star is Born, I would have told you to go F yourself. I'm just telling you right now, there's no chance I would have bought that movie. There were extenuating circumstances that I'm not going to go into right now on the radio. Unless you want to call in and ask me about it, then that's fine. I always answer the questions of the callers. That's fine. But so I want to know what you thought about this. We got a lot to get to, by the way. Coming up in hour number 2, Jamison Welsh from Drive Time Sports going to be joining us. And the UNLV game last night, I hate to laugh about this, but it's getting at this point, it's getting kind of funny. It's getting kind of embarrassing at the same. I swear, dude, there were less than 1,000 people at the game. I got pictures yesterday from listeners that were sending me pictures that were actually at the game. And I think there was a joke. There was like 18,000 people at the Vegas Golden Knights game yesterday, and they said there were like 800 people at the UNLV game. It's getting bad. We're going to talk about that with Jamison Welsh coming up hour number 2. Plenty to get to with him, our hoops guru. I don't know if you heard this story, but Republican lawmakers in Wisconsin, apparently they're not big fans of Colin Kaepernick. Shocker, right? Well, according to the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, the legislature was set to pass a ceremonial resolution celebrating Black History Month yesterday, but GOP lawmakers stepped in and demanded that Kaepernick's name be removed from the resolution or it would be vetoed. They're not going to vote for this unless Colin Kaepernick's name is out of this. So the resolution was drafted by the legislature's Black Caucus, and it was honoring more than 20, prominent Black Americans, including Milwaukee-born Kaepernick. He's from Milwaukee. That's why they wanted to put his name on this. So the resolution was passed once the Black Democrats removed Kaepernick's name. And the person who was in charge of this said that he was not happy about it. He called it a slap in the face, a textbook example of white privilege. So what do you think about this? Kaepernick, he's from Milwaukee. They're trying to pass this bill. It seems like a decent bill, a nice bill to pass, honoring these Black Americans. Kaepernick's name is in it, and I got all these Republicans.
See, I think it's ridiculous. They shouldn't have said anything about it. It's kind of like there's another radio host in town. His name's T.C. Martin, and he has a Sacramento Sports Hall of Fame. He has an award ceremony that he does every single year. It's kind of the same element there. If he's from Milwaukee and you're trying to showcase the best African American athletes from Milwaukee, then he should 100% be in it because he was a very good athlete at one point in his career. Mm-hmm. I think it's totally ridiculous that they would get him removed from that. It's not like he wasn't a bad. It's not like he was a bad athlete. He was right. He went to a Super Bowl. He had a couple good years as a Niner starting quarterback. So I think that's ridiculous. They shouldn't have done that.
There's so much hate in this country, and by the way, I agree with you.
That's way over the top.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. He's a controversial figure, but this isn't a bill about kneeling.
If he was just an African-American citizen and not an athlete, okay, but he was a successful professional athlete.
Yeah, the fact that these Republicans and by the way, it was Republicans that were doing. They wanted his name up, and they got what they wanted because they wouldn't have voted this thing in unless the Democrats took him off the bill. So because of that, Kaepernick's name is completely off this. He was born. I just think these Republicans, look, you can disagree with Kaepernick. I disagree with him,
exactly, but you can't rewrite history.
No, and that's what they did.
And say this guy wasn't a good athlete who happens to be from Milwaukee, who also happens to be African-American. You can't do that.
I agree. I'm not a Kaepernick fan for a lot of different reasons. But with that being said, he should have been on this bill. Regardless of whether you agree or disagree with some of the things he's done, these Republicans in Milwaukee.
Yeah, grow up.
These Republicans in Milwaukee they do need to grow up. And I mean, this is just insane. This is what they're worried about. All the problems in the world. Let's get Kaepernick off this bill. I think it is absolutely and positively ridiculous. You know what else is ridiculous? Yeah, I got to bring up Don Jr. again. It's not even the dumb comment to the president of the day that we have to talk about. We have to talk about Donald Trump's son. Yeah, he did it again. He called teachers losers. That's right. Yeah. That was my first reaction too. So, he opened up his father's rally, this rally he had in Texas that we've been talking about. And after noticing some young people in the crowd, he made a comment that caused a little bit of a stir. He says, I love seeing some young conservatives because I know it's not easy. Keep up that fight. Bring it to your schools. You don't have to be indoctrinated by these loser teachers that are trying to sell you on socialism from birth. You don't have to do it because you can think for yourselves. They can't. First of all,
the wrong word there is loser. I do think that a lot of teachers are pushing the wrong thing on students, and a lot of textbooks aren't great right now. But the word is misguided. It's not loser.
Yeah, don't call them a loser. A lot of these teachers are making 30, 40 grand a year, and most of them are doing a good job. You might not agree with their politics, and yes, I'm not a fan of teachers sharing their political views in front of students. I don't like that.
And it happens at the college level the absolute most.
But you are the president is your father, okay? You're speaking at a rally. Why do you have to use that sort of rhetoric? Don't call teachers losers. So he is getting blasted on social media for this.
All he has to do is just disagree formally.
He's not capable. He doesn't have the mind, the intellect, in my opinion, to do it. A couple teachers on social media saying that are Republicans, by the way. One saying not a good look at all. Another one saying every single thing he says is insanity. It's an insanity level lie. Don Jr. calling teachers losers is straight up heartbreaking. I'm shaking my head. By the way, these are some Republicans that are saying this.
Well, it was incredibly stupid.
Yeah. Privately educated Donald Trump Jr. calls teachers losers. This guy doesn't know a thing about the day in life of teachers and students. I am one of those loser teachers who supports equality, kindness, and compassion.
Where did he go? Harvard, Wharton, Yale. Do you know where he went to college? I have no idea.
No, I don't know either, but I would imagine
I'm sure he's highly educated. You know, when he first had his interviews when during Trump's campaign rallies, especially the debates, yes. I thought he was very good. I thought he was very smart, very eloquent, very articulate. He has gone downhill.
That's a very
since that's happened.
As we say in the poker community, that is a very bad read, extremely bad read on Don Jr. I just think it's a joke. And I know there's a lot of people that listen to the show, and I don't mind listening to others as long as you can make your point and make it and sound semi-intelligent. Sometimes that is difficult to do on certain nights.
And I'm very, very right-leaning, but both of these last two things we've discussed are just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's insane, and it doesn't stop with Don Jr. Guess what he tweeted out today? This is what all the problems in the world. And Don Jr. tweets out today about Michael Avenatti, as they say on Fox News, the creepy porn lawyer. Okay, he's tweeting this article out about how allegedly Michael Avenatti is accused of hiding millions of dollars from bankruptcy court. Who cares? There are more important things to talk about, but this is what Don Jr. is talking about. I mean, if you're a supporter of Donald Trump, what do you think of these comments and these tweets, not just to the President of the United States, but his son, Don Jr.? It seems to me that Eric seems to stay out of stuff like this. He keeps quiet. He behaves himself a little bit better. But I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Don Jr. is a complete moron. He is a buffoon, and he says stupid things on a regular basis. Some people think he's going to jail. I don't think that's going to happen. But certainly, if he broke the law, I want to know about it. What do you guys think of these comments? The son of the President of the United States calling teachers losers. Tweeting stuff about Michael Avenatti every day. Tweeting things that just nothing to do with the discourse of what's going on today. A lot of things that the president is working on. This is the president's son, and people need to speak out about this. People need to speak out when Republicans in Wisconsin will not pass a bill, and they will veto it unless Colin Kaepernick's name is off the bill. These are issues that Republicans need to be honest about and need to talk about. I will open up the phone lines. What do you guys think about Don Jr., good old Donnie, with all these ridiculous things that he says on a regular basis? I'll give out the phone line now. It is 257-5396. Again, the number to call, 702-257-5396. I have just had it with Don Jr. I wish he would just stay away. Just stop it already. You can't call teachers losers, okay? If you disagree with a teacher, spilling out their political beliefs, fine. Then say that.
Say misguided, say biased. Say ignorant, don't call them losers.
Does he not understand that many of these teachers are perhaps a good amount of them are Republicans?
It just makes him look very, very dumb.
Vain, I guess, would be the best word that I would use. And it really is incredible to me because it's not stopping. You would think that somebody would get in his ear and say, hey, man, you can't say stuff like that. You got to knock it off. The apple doesn't far from the tree. That's for sure.
Like it or not, outside of parents, teachers are shaping our youth's future, which means the future of the United States.
Of course they are. Absolutely. And many of these teachers are not making a lot of money. They're low salaries, to say the least. And I'm not excusing them. Look, like I said, I don't want...
Which I do think should change.
I don't want any of the... Yeah,
I think they should be in the 50 to 65 range.
I agree. I do think that I don't think I know. I don't want teachers sharing their political beliefs in front of the class. That's not what education should be all about. Maybe if you're in a political science class and you want to debate some
in
issues.
high school, in college.
Yeah, I've never been a big fan of that. But with that being said, the terminology, man, you have to call teachers losers. It's just insane. This stuff just has to stop. I'm tired of it. And then we have a Democratic representative who we've been talking about on the show who thinks her controversial, and we'll get to this in a little bit, her controversial remarks on Israel is exciting. That is the word she says. She said it is exciting, and I'm sorry, man. I've just had it with some of these elected officials. 257-5396-702. 257-5396 is the number to call. Let's kick this off with David. David, thanks for calling in. How are you?
Hey, David.
Hey, good, guys. How's it going?
Good. What's on your mind?
Doing well.
Hey, just before I get started, I just want to say the comment expressed by me in no way represents the host of the show or Beasley Media Group. So,
I'm afraid. I'm afraid to hear what you have to say, but that's okay. Go ahead.
Oh no, it's okay, man. Because I want to say, great show. I've been listening.
Thank you.
Since you started.
I appreciate that.
And I can prove it because you said that Bruno Mars was like one of your problem interviews.
That is true.
At first,
true.
First I thought, man, that Bruno, he's got to be a jerk, man. I can't believe this.
But it's me.
And then I listened to
but
your
it's
show,
me.
Brian,
Yeah.
for a couple months.
I already know what you're going to say.
I started to think maybe you had a point, but no, I came back. No, to be honest, I came back, and I
That's
think
a good
very
point.
highly of you, Brian.
I appreciate
You apologized about those comments that those two new Congress persons had said about anti-Semitic stuff.
And you know what? I was wrong. I was wrong.
And you said that.
Yeah.
And I caught both of them, and they were like a couple weeks apart. And I was just like, that is very cool. And then one other thing I want to say before I make my comment is that how lucky we are in Vegas. I mean, we got your show, but man, what are the odds that we all live in a city where our ED doctor's name are cocky? You know?
I was talking to somebody about that the other day. That is true. There is an ED doctor. What is an erectile dysfunction doctor out there? What is his name again? Say it again.
Charles Arcocky. Now, I'm not sure how you spell it.
Arcocky.
But,
very, very
maybe
fitting. It's
something for Schaefer to figure it out. But I just don't know what those odds are because I feel really lucky that I live in a city that has that.
If his last name didn't start with R and it started with Boo, then we would have a serious problem. But anyway, go ahead, David. I regress. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, no problem. I just want to say, Don Jr., the whole thing with Trump is just because they just go after him all the time, and he's always on defense mode. So the way I look at it is, he's just being attacked constantly. They can't get anything done. And so you start saying idiot stuff when you get idiot stuff hurled at you. It's just a vicious cycle out there, I guess.
Well, David, let me just respond to that. And I know JD wants to say something. But let me start by saying I was not a defender of Barack Obama with a lot of his policies. I didn't think he was a great president. Fox News threw stuff at him every day. Donald Trump, for 5 years went on to say that he wasn't born in this country, and Obama didn't say anything dumb back. I mean, he did say several dumb things in his presidency. Don't get me wrong. He said some dumb things. But it just seems like the Trump family, Donald Trump, Don Jr., they say idiotic things on a daily basis. And it's getting it's getting old. That's the point I'm trying to make.
No, and I get it. And my whole thing is that at some point, the amount of negativity thrown at the whole family is just unbelievable. And, and I get it that they have to defend themselves. I mean, I kind of look at what you do, Brian, because, I think you don't like Trump, but I think you see the worst part of yourself in Trump because you go off after people too. You don't take it because you don't want to take it.
Here's the thing. I don't think it's defensive. If I'm an elected official, I don't talk to people like that. But if somebody I haven't called you a name, have I, David?
David, are you a psychiatrist?
No. He sounds like a psychiatrist.
No.
David, here's the thing. If somebody calls up, like I'll give you an example. The other day, somebody called up, and I think they compared people who die. I'm trying to remember exactly what he said, but he said something along the lines of people who die in the Holocaust are similar. I'm trying to remember exactly his words. Maybe I shouldn't even repeat it because I'm trying to remember exactly what he said. But there are people out there that say stupid things on this show every single day. People that, called, gay people, a guy who was homophobic who called in yesterday. We had another guy who called in who said some blatantly racist things on this show. When people start off,
that too.
yeah, when people say things that are ignorant, racist, or just stupid, or they start off by just calling me a snowflake and attacking me, I'm going to attack back. JD, am I wrong doing that?
Well, just like I think that DJT and Donald Trump should definitely respond, but they have to respond intelligently.
Right, exactly.
I mean, you just have to.
Exactly.
Calling teachers losers, and you can call them when you can say any other. You could say 5 or 10 other things to convey your point accurately. It's just honestly, it's very, very beneath the White House and anything associated with the White House.
Well, I can't believe this. Me and JD are concurring on everything.
It really is. Calling educators of young students losers.
Yes,
is
I agree.
Just very, very low.
David, I'm going to get Dr. Arukaki's number for you if you need it. Okay, I promise I will do that. Yes.
Hey, one other thing before you guys go, I came up with a little nickname for you, Brian.
Yes.
When you get all agitated.
Yes.
Mr. Tomato Head. No, I'm not in there, but from what I understand, that's what you look like.
I don't like it. I like a friend of ours, a friend of mine who I used to work with, Chet Buchanan, who does a great job here in Vegas, does a lot of great things. He called me Salty Shapiro. And some people still call me that. Dave, I appreciate the call, my man. Thank you.
Yeah, keep up the good fight, guys.
All right.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks a lot, Dave.
Let's take one more quick call before we go to break. Let's go to Jim. Jim, thanks for calling into the Vegas Take. Jim, how are you?
What's up, Jim?
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
Just on my way to work to save the world again. So my thought on Don Jr. is the apple does not fall far from the tree.
I just said that 5 minutes ago. Jim and I are in complete agreement again.
I don't think that Donald Trump would call teachers losers. I think he would definitely respond negatively, but he wouldn't go to that. He wouldn't go that low.
What?
I think he would have a point.
Okay, but look at all the people that he's attacked.
Yeah.
Because of their appearance.
I agree.
Because of their politics and made it personal.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
Politics is not personal.
It shouldn't be personal. Unfortunately, it is, Jim. It shouldn't be. But in the state that we are in, I don't think the Trumps have certainly helped that with the political discourse.
I mean, that would be like, Coach Tarkanian asking a player, did your parents have any children that lived?
That's a good analogy. No, I agree, Jim. Yeah. No, Jim, I completely 100% agree. And I think it's sad in today's day and age that we have to continue to talk about our president and members of his family insulting people like teachers. It's sad. Jim, have a good day at work, my friend. I appreciate you calling in. I appreciate you calling in, my man. Thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
Have a good one.
All right. Yeah, it's sad. So when we come up next, I'm going to be going after a Democrat. No, it's not always anti-Trump, but I also want to play some audio for Mr. Beto O'Rourke just going after Trump as far as the wall is concerned. We'll get to that, much more. Take your calls at 257-5396. Again, 257-5396. Take a quick break. Be back right after this. This is the Vegas Take on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN.